Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, I've made the decision. We are going to remove the injection pump, finally. I've known this is probably the issue since literally the day I bought this tractor. But I tried to exhaust all other possible causes, and also in the meantime was basically rebuilding my fuel system. Because had I put the money down up front to have the injection pump rebuilt, I could have contaminated it with bad things that were in the fuel system, such as from the pump or the filter. So anyway, we're going to remove the pump. We're going to send it off to some professionals and let them build it properly. I was originally going to take on the task, but I didn't want to complete the project, and if I still had the misfire, rough running condition, second guess the work that I had done on the pump. So I'd rather just send it to somebody that knows this thing inside and out and have it rebuilt properly. So let's dig into it. So the first step in removing the injection pump from any tractor is we have to get it back timed again. I'm not going to video the whole process of this. If you didn't watch my last video, go back to it. If I think of it, I'll try to put a link in the description. But basically, we need to remove this timing pin from the crankcase, and we will roll the engine over by hand until we get to the dimple on the flywheel in which we can insert this pin. I'll then take the timing cover off the injection pump, and I'll be able to look inside and see those two timing marks. Now, if I don't see those two timing marks like I did originally in that first video, I'll need to rotate the engine one more time, 360 degrees, which will rotate the inside of this pump another 180. At that point, we should be able to see both timing marks in that window and be able to insert the pin into the dimple on the flywheel. And that's pretty much it as far as getting it timed. At that point, then I'm not going to want to turn the engine over on the tractor or change any settings until I get the rebuilt pump back. Alright, I'm just about to the dimple in the flywheel, so I'll insert the pin and put a little tension on it while I turn the flywheel over until it drops in. One cylinder, top dead center compression stroke. We'll verify by looking inside this timing window. Curious to see if we're going to get any more little bits and pieces out of here. I have the fuel turned off, I remembered. There is still going to be fuel coming out of here though. Yeah, still a couple chunks out of there too. So just be sure to insert the cover with screws back on the injection pump after you remove it, so that when you send it in for overhaul, it won't charge you for additional parts and pieces. Go ahead and take off the fuel supply line, the fuel return line. We'll take off the wire for the cutout switch, and then we'll remove the 3 injection lines. We'll go ahead and pull the cotter pin and take out this throttle line, and then last but not least, we'll take this throttle lever and manually pull it all the way back and zip tie it. We'll probably zip tie it to the elbow here on the supply line. So oddly enough, the nut holding this wire on top of the solenoid for some reason is a 9mm, but interesting enough. Alright, I'll take this wire out of the way. I think the rest are all 9/16 and 5/8. So I'll take off the fuel return line. Might need to double wrench that. That would be the smart thing to do. Practice what you preach. There we go. And I've got the drip pan under the pump. I'm sure there's going to be fuel at various stages. 5/8 for the supply line. Once I get all these lines out, another thing that I'm going to do, just as a precautionary measure, I'm going to blow everything out with some air, just to make sure all the lines are free and clear and there's no gunk or goulash stuck in there. And I'm going to reinstall this this 90-degree fitting, but for now I think I'm going to go ahead and remove it, because I think there's an inlet screen there as well. Just curious to see if there is one there, and if so, what the condition of it looks like. I'm sorry, moving the camera around here. Let's see, because they're going to take all this apart anyway. Nope, nothing there. So if there's supposed to be one there, there isn't. And if there isn't supposed to be one, well, there still isn't. So, all right, we'll reinstall that again. Again, they're going to take all this apart. But I do want to leave this on there as I'm going to need something to zip tie the throttle linkage to. All right, so fuel return's taken off, fuel supply's taken off. Go back to my 9/16 here. And I'll remove the injector lines. There's 3 of those on here. Now know when you pull this bolt out, there's going to be 2 washers, one on each side of the banjo fitting, which I'll show you here in a second. So when I pull this line off, there's going to be 1 washer underneath, oops, excuse me, which is right here. And then I pull the bolt out, and you'll see the second washer was in there. They call this a banjo fitting just because it kind of looks like a banjo. But just know, and obviously there's a lot of crud on here I probably should have cleaned off first. Again, they're going to go through and redo this whole thing, but when it comes time for reassembly, that a washer will go under the banjo fitting, between the fitting and the pump, another fitting on the bolt, and then put the bolt in. And the bolt will have a hole here and a hole at the bottom. That's how the fuel flows through. So I'll take the other 2 banjo fittings off, and then we'll remove the throttle cable. I think there's a cotter pin here, little washer, and I can pull the throttle. I called it a throttle cable, but throttle linkage on this tractor. Alright, so now the injection pump is disconnected from everything. Fuel supply line, fuel return line, the 3 fuel lines going to the injectors, and the throttle linkage. So, like I said, before we loosen these 2 nuts and remove the pump, I want to take this throttle linkage and pull it all the way back. I guess there probably should be a stop there. Maybe I'm going too far. Anyway, I don't know. I'm going to pull it back, and we're going to zip tie it to the fitting back here. Let's see. Probably easier to come in up here, pull it back, get it under all these lines. That would be my luck to zip tie it to a line that's staying on the tractor, right? And thread it through. Alright, that ought to do it. Now I'll remove these 2 nuts and kind of try to slide it back and wiggle it between these injection lines. This is just more experimental than anything at this point. Wipe this off. I'm going to go get this was a blue marker. I'm going to get a red marker and make a new set of match marks. And it's, like I said, it's more experimental. I'm just kind of curious to see how different it is between now and after it's rebuilt. It may be the same, or it may be off a bit. Yeah, so I really like these markers. It's made by Milwaukee. I get them at Home Depot, called Inkzol. They come in usually a 4-pack. There's like 2 black, a blue, and a red. Alright, so I'm going to make another mark here just to see where we're at. And you know, I guess it's probably for nothing, because when I send this pump in, I was just thinking they're going to blast peen this whole thing, get all the old paint off, and make it look new, so my 2 marks here are going to be gone. But what I can do is get a little chisel and make a little bink, bink, little nicks in there, so that we'll have somewhat of an idea when it comes back. Again, it's all kind of just more for curiosity's sake. I'm just going to do this with a couple small taps with a little hammer, so that if you're wearing earbuds, it won't be too bad. Alright, so now we know at least where those two marks are, red on top, blue on the bottom, and we'll be able to match them up to the timing gear cover marks when we get it back and see how far off it was. Before I forget, I am going to reinstall this cover. Alright, let's finish getting these nuts off. Now the bottom one didn't have a lock washer, but the top one did. So that's something to keep note of. Now they're pretty tight to get this nut out of here between the stud and the pump. So what you might need to do is actually start to pull it back to give you clearance to get the hardware out. And I'm sure I'll forget, but when it comes time to put it in, we should probably start the nuts before we push it all the way in as well. Alright, now the fun part. I'm going to pull this camera out a little bit here, get a better view. And basically we're just going to pull the pump straight back, and we have to deal with getting through this entanglement mess here of lines. As you can see here, I'll show you better when we pull it out. That's the first umbrella seal. And we'll be dealing with those when it comes time to put this back together. Here's the second one. And we're almost off. There we go. Alright. And the injection pump is free. It's a boy! Zoom back in here again. So this is the injection pump drive shaft. It should not turn right now. There we go, which is good because it's attached to a gear in this timing housing. And if we zoom in a little bit, let's see if this is going to be too much. That'll be alright. I'll slide it over here a bit, tilt her down. Alright, so you see two rubber seals here. I'll get this screwdriver just to kind of pick at them a little bit. You can see this one, the open end is toward the pump side, and this one, the open end, is towards the engine side. So two seals, opposite directions to keep fluid from flowing either way. So this inside umbrella seal is to keep crankcase oil from flowing towards the pump. I doubt that would really happen or not, but and then this outside one here is to keep diesel fuel from flowing into the crankcase and contaminating the oil in the engine. So those will get replaced as well. And there's a couple special tools that you're going to need, and I'll show you what those are right now. So these are the two tools you're going to need. Whether you decide to rebuild the injection pump yourself or if you send it off to get rebuilt, because they're just going to do the pump. These two rubber seals still need to be replaced, right? So the first one is called drive shaft tool, and the part number for it is 13369. It's from Stanadyne, right? I got these from a place called Badger Diesel. And the other one is another drive shaft tool, 13371. So basically this one here looks like a little set of pliers. So when we take these old seals off, I'll show you the whole process, but basically this tool, it's got a tapered end on it, and it's going to be used to slide the seals over. And then this part of the tool is hollow inside, and it'll slide over the drive shaft so that we can easily place the seals into their grooves without ripping or rolling them. So, and at that time we're going to make sure we use plenty of lubricant as well, as you should with any type of rubber seal or O-ring. And then this one here, basically the outer umbrella seal that goes towards the pump, the cup is facing towards the pump. So when we slide the pump on, there's a chance it could open up that umbrella seal and roll it backwards. And this is, in my eyes, the most crucial one, because it's what's preventing the diesel fuel from getting into the oil. So basically this little tool will go around that seal and collapse it in as we slide the pump on. You can see this side has a little groove in it, so it'll allow us to kind of tuck that umbrella seal inside the pump housing. So again, we'll go in more depth of that when the time comes, and as usual we'll learn together because I have not done this before, but I did watch some other YouTube videos to know that I needed these tools. So if you're sending your injection pump out to get rebuilt, make sure you also order a set of these tools so that when it comes back you're ready to install. I have seen people thoroughly lubricate the shaft and kind of manipulate and work the seals on, and instead of using this tool to tuck the umbrella seal in, they used a scribe just to kind of tuck it. So up to you how you want to do all that, but if I'm putting this much time and money into an injection pump, the last thing I want to do is ruin my pump or my engine because of a $2 seal that was installed improperly. These two tools, I want to say, geez, I don't even remember, maybe like 50 bucks for the pair, something like that. So, you know, it's a kind of probably one-time use thing for me. Hopefully I'll never have to take this apart again once it's rebuilt, but you never know. And if you got a buddy that's got a tractor, you can help them out too, because this injection pump is used on a ton of models of tractors. So I decided that this is coming apart anyway. I was curious to see a little more about this pump. I know we took the suction line off and didn't see a screen, but I'm wondering if there's one on this discharge side. And then I also want to take the top cover off. I'm just kind of curious what the condition looks like inside or how gunked up things are. Yeah, there's nothing there. But it's only 3 screws to take the top of this solenoid cover off. Pardon my glove. I'm just curious to see what the cleanliness condition looks like inside this thing. So let's go ahead and pull these off real quick. We're not going to take anything else apart on this. I just want to kind of do a quick little visual inside there. There's 1, 2. I'm curious to see if we'll find any of those little black plasticky chunky things, which we very well may. Three. It don't look too bad, honestly. I mean, I don't see any debris or buildup or anything in there. I've already moved the throttle lever back all the way, so these components aren't going to move. I think that's for fuel metering. Anyway, alright, nothing to see here. Here's our electric solenoid fuel shutoff. Little plunger right there. Shut the fuel off for us. That's how that works. Alright, I'll go ahead and put this back together and focus. I gotta move that plunger. There we go. Alright, moving along, nothing to see here. Just curious to see how dirty it was inside. I think that's probably about it for this video. I've got the injection pump off. I'm going to do the best I can. Here's the back side here. It's pretty nasty. I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit, make sure that we don't have any old residual diesel inside. We'll get everything bagged and tagged appropriately so that when I send it off, they'll know what they have. If you look down here on the inside, there's a little bronze or brass bushing in here as well. That's something that can wear also. And if you take note, let's see if I come on the back side of the camera here, and you probably won't be able to see inside there. Let me grab my flashlight. Again, I'll show you this when we put it back together, but inside that bore, you can see a little keyway with the timing mark to the left. So it should be installed in that same orientation when I get it back. So this is just kind of a good way to document that, I guess. But little timing mark to the left, the vertical mark with a dot on the top. And that's what fits into this end part of the pump. You can see I've got would be the vertical part, and there's another dot there. And then the horizontal one would go off to the inside here. Alright, so like I said, that's going to do it for today's video. Just a short one, how to remove the pump. So it's Saturday. I'm going to send this out on Monday. They'll probably get it by midweek. The place I'm using is in Virginia as well. So They seem to be the experts on this type of pump, so I'll get back into that a little more in detail in the next video as well, and let you know how my experience is with them. So far it's been great. I talked to them on the phone, seen a lot of reviews, and I think they're definitely the right people for the job. So with that being said, the next video on this will probably be, I think they said it was like a 6-week turnaround for the pump. So we're looking at probably 6 to 7 weeks, almost 2 months from now before we get back into this fuel injection pump. We're going to eventually do some more things with this tractor. I do still want to change all the fluids. I have all the engine oil filters, all the hydraulic filters, hydraulic oil, the screen we have to clean. And there's a couple hydraulic lines on here that the hoses look terrible. So with a high volume pump like there is on this tractor, mind you, this tractor was designed to have a loader on the front and a backhoe in the back. So high volume, high pressure pump. If one of those hydraulic lines blows out, it will be a big mess that I don't want to have to deal with. So I'd rather take the time now. It's only 3 of them, usually anywhere from 15 to 30 bucks a hose. To me, it's worth spending the 50 to 100 bucks and have that peace of mind that I'm not going to blow 11 gallons of oil out all over the road. So anyway, more videos to come. We're going to get into working on the skid steer. I want to take the front bucket off. I want to start making an adapter for me picking up things. I don't usually do a lot of dirt work. It's more lifting heavy stuff. And of course that skid steer is going to get a complete restoration done on it as well. So we'll start that this winter into spring. Pulling the engine, pulling the drive pumps, motors, all the hydraulic hoses are going to get replaced. We're going to repaint everything. I really want it to be a nice looking, perfectly functioning, dependable machine that we can use for retrieving old tractors and equipment. So anyway, hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Hope you have a Happy New Year. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't, please subscribe, and at a minimum, if you can hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. So hope you have a Happy New Year. Until the next time.